Welcome back everyone to Just Minecraft. We're going to do it. We're going to become the king of bees, the master of honey, the connoisseur of a sweet and viscous substance made by several species of bees. And to do this, we are going to need to go on a bit of an adventure. So, of course, we've been building this honey farm for a couple episodes now and stuff, and there's a few things that are still missing from it. Most notably of which is the fact that there's no roof on this building, but also one of the other things which we're actually missing, which I don't think anyone has noticed yet, is whilst we've got a bunch of shears in these ones, which is getting us some wonderful honeycomb, we haven't actually got any honey bottle. And also, of course, the big one, it's the fact that our actual farm is missing all of the redstone down here to compact everything down. And we are going to solve all of these issues today. Luckily, those first two can kind of be completed at once. So, starting out with the roof and everything, I would like to make this roof out of mangrove. I feel like it's the best looking block for this. And unfortunately, we don't actually have mangrove with us, so we're gonna need to go on an adventure to get it, and the mangrove swamp is somewhere over here, like about all of that distance there. Luckily, on the way to the mangrove swamp, we are also going to run into the one and only desert which we have in this world, and that is how we're going to get all of the glass which we're going to need for the bottles. Now, this is unfortunately the point where we run into something a little bit depressing. So, of course, dispensers and droppers, they have 9 item slots in them, and the way a honey farm works is either by shearing or using a bottle on a bee nest. Now, with honeycomb, it's completely fine. It spits out the item and we can just pick it up with a hopper. With honey bottles, it's a little bit more annoying because instead of just spitting out the item, it leaves the bottle in the dispenser or dropper. Now, that doesn't sound too problematic at first until you realize that the solution to fix that is to fill every single item slot of the dispenser with a glass bottle, like a full stack, which is 9 stacks of glass bottles each. We have 6 of these, by the way, and 9 stacks of glass bottles is 9 stacks of sand. And we don't have shulker boxes on this server, so I have to just carry that, which is a little annoying as well, because I would like to do this in one trip, which means I basically need to just dump everything in my inventory which I do not think I am going to need, and pretty much just take the essentials. With all of that stated, let's go to the desert. So welcome everyone to a place which is, oh my gosh, that is like 2,000 blocks away, I think. Or is it 3,000? I think it's actually 3,000 blocks away. Clearly, I am not the first person to have passed through here. But we are currently all the way over here. Oh gosh, this isn't even the desert that I actually thought it was. This is fine. This serves the purpose which we need right now. Because yeah, even though the main purpose of this trip is to go and get mangrove and stuff, like the sand is still important and we were going to need to get it eventually, so I might as well just get it on the way. And luckily on the server we've only got around 12 people and everyone is sort of living in this area here. There is nobody anywhere close to this, which means no one's gonna complain if I go and mine up all of this sand. Now I have got a diamond shovel for this and stuff, however 27 stacks of sand is quite a bit. So I've also got 5 iron in my hotbar there, hoping that that's enough. you know what? Seeing how little this impacted the landscape, like, maybe we don't need to worry too much about sand. Like, I thought I was gonna be hitting sandstone by the end of this. No, turns out 27 stacks, it's a lot less than you would think. Although, actually, as you'll notice, I've got 1 extra in my inventory, so we're actually up to 28. And that's just because I realized I was going to need some more glass anyway. Not just for, like, you know, buildings and stuff, but also, like, I quite like using a lot of it in the redstone and stuff whenever there's anything that, like, I want to be visible but needs to be contained. So what I am doing now is I am going to head over to where our mangrove swamp is. Now, as I have said, I was actually kind of traveling in a bit of the wrong direction beforehand. So instead of going and reaching this desert down here, which is where I intended to go, we hit this desert up here. So we might be adding another like 2,000 to 3,000 blocks to this journey. Yeah, you know, this is a much bigger desert right here. Oh, the mangrove swamp's right here. And once again, looks like we are not the first people over here. And somebody has already gone and left a bunch of propagules, which is nice. And I think since I am here, I might as well go and get some wood, although I really don't need to get it here. I just kind of want to justify the long journey all the way out here. I mean, like, look how far we've come across. Like, here's my base over here, and then we're all the way over here. So here we go. Let's just go and get some nice wood. And there we go. We've got a stack of what might genuinely be my favorite wood type in the game. I don't know. It just works really well in a lot of situations. My only issue with it is just the fact that it is such a pain to try and get. Now, I think I have just got what is about to be the longest walk of my life. I mean, let's see. How far is it? It's, yeah, about 6,000 blocks. And with all of this sand, so obviously I need to smelt it into glass. However, I don't think I want to manually come over here and replace a stack of sand each time. So I think I might just go and quickly make some hoppers for this. And hopefully I have got enough charcoal for all of this. So okay, that's all of the glass smelting and stuff. I'm going to plant some propagules. Let's just go like right over here or something. Because in theory, I shouldn't need too much. But the final thing which I'm going to need to work out for this is how do I do all of the auto crafting? As a matter of fact, I don't even know how to craft one. So I think they are just called a crafter. And right, okay, it's a drop. Oh gosh, they require iron as well. Okay, I only need 2 of these though, so that's fine. So I do know that I'm going to need a comparator for this. And since I'm going to need 2 of these for the actual farm, I might as well just make them both now. So I think the way these work, they output a signal up to a strength of 16 based on how full this is. So I think if I actually disable a slot, yeah, this starts filling up. Right, okay. So what that means is if there's only 4 slots open, then of course this is going to have a signal of 5, yeah. And then if this has 4 of its slots filled in with items, then it will reach a signal strength of 9 and it can fire. So that can actually work by just doing that, I think. What I don't know is what happens if it has something that like gets left in the crafting slot normally, because that's surely something that's going to happen with honey blocks and stuff. Like, you'll craft it, but you get left with the empty bottle. So here we go. We have 4 honey bottles. Now, okay, there's a zombie coming to interrupt me. Please go away. So if this fills up with honey bottles, is it going to fire the bottles out as well? It does. Okay, that makes this so much easier. Because now we just essentially take all of the stuff that it outputs and filter out the bottles and the honey block. Like, wouldn't that work? Because that's 9. Nope, that works. Okay, so I think I have worked out all of the redstone for this. So all that leaves us to do now is basically put the roof on this building and do all of the redstone to make it function. And this is going to require a lot of different stuff, like there might be some bubble elevators for items maybe. But essentially, we're just going to take all of the items that are outputted and put them in that exact crafter setup. And then just do an item filter to send anything to where it needs to go. So I mean, like, with all of that said, we might as well just get to work. Okay, this build is finally done and it has taken way too long. Welcome back, everyone. It has been several days, actually. Not hours, days. Because finishing off this build has taken so long. Do you guys realize how expensive hoppers are? Because I certainly didn't. I have had to do several mining trips down in this little mine shaft to try and get enough iron. You want to see how far I've gone? For reference here, every single one of these tunnels is 100 blocks long, and look how far I've gone. And all of that has just been to get enough iron for the hoppers for this build. That's not even mentioning the redstone or the amount of birch trees I have had to cut down, but finally it is done. So if we come inside here, you can see like a little bit of the redstone and stuff. I thought it would be fun to keep this little bit. I've just sort of got this as a little pipe sticking out, but that is actually functional. That is part of all of the redstone. And I have made it accessible. So if we come around the back here, basically honeycomb is all being harvested up there somewhere. In fact, I can go in free cam to show you. So these 4 hives are harvesting honeycomb because you get more honeycomb than you do anything else, so it just makes sense to have less of these. Whereas these 6 ones here, which have to be powered slightly differently, are actually sending all of the resources over to this. And you might think, oh, this is easy then. Like, all of the honeycomb can just come straight down here. No, you're wrong. We actually have a little thing here, which I was quite proud of. What this is doing is this is splitting the honeycomb 50-50. So basically, if this comparator is powered, then any honeycomb passing through here will go into this chest. By the way, the chests are just to make less hoppers. Because, you know, we can move items around in chests. We don't need to use 5 iron every single time. Whereas whenever the comparator is off, all of the honeycomb gets sent down here, and it just goes nicely into this chest. And it's not a perfect solution, but basically, it just means that, like, as items are getting sent through, it's just a 50-50 chance whether it's powered or not. So it means that roughly half of our honeycomb ends up going through here into the honeycomb chest, and the other half actually gets compressed down into a block. And I'll be honest, if you're like me, then you think that this system is redundant, but it turns out you can't actually turn honeycomb back into an item. Once it's in a block form, that is it. It's just stuck as a block. The more complex system is actually this one here. So this is honey bottle. And what this is doing is every time a honey bottle comes along, it gets sent into the crafter. When the crafter reaches a signal strength of 9, it fires out, and that's what's going into the copper pipe out here. So as you can see, it just falls down and then into this hopper. That hopper then comes through here where it gets separated. So all of the glass bottles go this way into this dropper. Meanwhile, all of the honey blocks will get sent through here and into our nice little honey block storage, which I believe because of how slow honey is, there's no block. Oh no, there's actually a block in there. There we go. We're making stuff finally. So yeah, all of that is working perfectly fine and everything. The other thing which I've done, I've gone and walled off this. This is because there is redstone right underneath this. But also, I have been breeding the bees because it turns out that, like, due to the fact that this has been open a while, a lot of our bees just flew off. So I've had to breed them all back up to 30 bees. So yeah, I've just been breeding the bees and stuff. So essentially, our farm is now up at max capacity and working at, like, the highest efficiency it can. But finally, the other thing which I have, of course, been working on is the roof. And I will admit, it is not my favorite. It's just a bit of a mixed bag with this building. Like, I like some parts of it, I don't like others. I kind of like the glass bit up here, I like the sign, but then over here, it kind of starts transitioning into more fantasy rather than what I want. So, like, it's okay, but I kind of don't like it that much. Maybe it could do with some external decoration, like, I don't know, covering it with leaves or something, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it. It just doesn't feel as good as it could be. But with that, we can finally call this building complete. It is fully operational, it is a complete build, it is done. And what I might start doing with this is actually, I'm considering selling the honey and stuff. Because I will admit, I originally made this one just because I wanted to, but also because, like, I feel like I'm going to be using copper a decent bit in this series. So I wanted a way to wax any of the stuff that I collect naturally. But also, since it's fully operational and this is just kind of working in the background the entire time that I'm here, I think once it starts filling up and everything, I might start actually selling the honeycomb and everything, because I'm sure there's someone on the server that wants honey and honeycomb more than me. I don't know, pricing could be a little weird on it and stuff as well. well, because of course, like, this is separate, but it is more useful than the honeycomb blocks generally. And like, honey itself is a bit of a niche block, but it's also really difficult to go and collect in large quantities, so like, that should probably be priced a little higher. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff to work out with it, and I'm not entirely sure if I'll go with it, but I probably will. I wouldn't mind having a source of income on this server. But anyway, so with that, I think we are done here. I am sick of working on this farm because it has taken ages. The building is finally done, although definitely not my favorite build. I would change it if I could. So I just want to, like, you know, move on from that. So with that, all I have left to say is thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and next episode, I think I might go on an adventure to get a new friend.